Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Nachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey. Jayam Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Privrajagacharya Stotra Shatis Divine Grace Aisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Privrajagacharya Stotra Shatis Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premshika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shama Kundarada Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Yamuna Maya Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Girihari Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today we're reading Canto number 7, Science of God, Chapter 7, What Prahlad Learned in the Womb, text number 30 and 31. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Guru Shushushaya Bhaktya Sarva Labdharpanena Cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishvara Radhanena Cha Guru Shushushaya Bhaktya Sarvalabdharpanena Cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishvara Radhanena Cha Guru Shushushaya Bhaktya Sarvalabdharpanena Cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishvara Radhanena Cha Guru Shushushaya Bhaktya Sarvalabdharpanena Cha Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam Ishvara Radhanena Cha. Please chant. Guru Shushushaya Bhaktya Ishvararadhanena cha
Guru Shushrusaya Bhaktya
Guru Shushrusaya Bhaktya
Sarvalabharpanena cha
Sarvalabharpanena cha
Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam
Sangena Sadhu Bhaktanam
Ishvararadhanena cha
Ishvararadhanena cha
Shadaya tat katayam cha kirtanarguna karmanam tat padam buruha dhyanat talingeksha ranadibhi. Guru Shushushaya, by rendering service to the bona fide spiritual master. Bhaktya, with faith and devotion. Sarva, all. Labdha, of material gains. Arpanena, by offering to the Guru or to Krishna through the spiritual master. Cha, and Sangena, by the association. Sadhu Bhaktanam, of devotees and saintly persons. Ishvara, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Aradhanena, by the worship. Cha, and. Translation and commentaries by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. One must accept the bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him with great devotion and faith. Whatever one has in one's possession should be offered to the spiritual master. And in the association of saintly persons and devotees, one should worship the Lord, hear the glories of the Lord with faith, glorify the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord, always meditate at the Lord's lotus feet and worship the deity of the Lord, strictly according to the injunctions of śāstra, of the śāstra and Guru. The purport. In a previous verse, it has been said that the process which immediately increases one's love and affection for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the best of the many thousands of ways to become free from the entanglement of material existence. It is also said, Dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. Actually, the truth of religious principles is extremely confidential. Nonetheless, it can be understood very easily if one actually adopts the principles of religion. As it is said, Dharmam tushakshat bhagavat pranitam. The process of religion is enunciated by the Supreme Lord because He is the Supreme Authority. This is also indicated in the previous verse by the word bhagavatoditaha. The injunctions or directions of the Lord are infallible and their benefits are fully assured. According to His directions, which are explained in this verse, the perfect form of religion is Bhakti Yoga. To practice Bhakti Yoga, one must first accept the bona fide spiritual master. Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1:274-75 advises Guru Padarashrayastasmat Krishna Dikshari Shikshanam Vishram Bina Guru Seva Sadhu Vartmanovartanam Saddharma Pricha Bhogadi Tyaga Krishna Hetave. One's first duty is to accept the bona fide spiritual master. The student or disciple should be very inquisitive. He should be eager to know the complete truth about eternal religion, Sanatan Dharma. The words Guru Shushushaya mean that one should personally serve the spiritual master by giving him bodily comforts, helping him in bathing, dressing, sleeping, eating, and so on. This is called Guru Shushushanam. A disciple should serve the spiritual master as a menial servant, and whatever he has in his possession should be dedicated to the spiritual master. Pranay arthar diyavacha. Everyone has his life, his wealth, his intelligence, and his words, and all of them should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the medium of the spiritual master. Everything should be offered to the spiritual master as a matter of duty, but the offering should be made to the spiritual master with the heart and soul, not artificially to gain material prestige. This offering is called arpana. Moreover, one should live among devotees, saintly persons, to learn the etiquette and proper behavior of devotional service. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that whatever is offered to the spiritual master should be offered with love and affection, not for material adoration. Similarly, it is recommended that one associate with devotees, but there must be some discrimination. Actually, a sadhu, a saintly person, must be saintly in his behavior. sadhava sat achara. Unless one adheres to the standard behavior of one's position as a sadhu, a saintly person is not complete. Therefore, a Vaishnav, a sadhu, must completely adhere to the standard of behavior. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur says that a Vaishnav, a person initiated into the Vaishnav cult, should be offered the respect befitting a Vaishnav, which means that he should be offered service and prayers. However, one should not associate with him if he is not a fit person with whom to associate. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Tatati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatrubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishtavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation one more time. One must accept the bona fide spiritual master and render service unto him with great devotion and faith. Whatever one has in one's possession should be offered to the spiritual master. And in the association of saintly persons and devotees, one should worship the Lord. Hear the glories of the Lord with faith, glorify the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord, always meditate on the Lord's lotus feet, and worship the deity of the Lord strictly according to the injunctions of the śāstra and Guru. It's such a nice text here in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the chapter is called What Prahlad Learned in the Womb. So while in the womb of his mother, Prahlad Maharaj was hearing the instructions of his spiritual master Narada Muni. And he was hearing so attentively that when he came out of the womb, he was able to strictly follow. And he resembles a great Mahajan, a great devotee of the Lord. And it's only possible if we follow the instructions of the spiritual master. There's a famous text that everyone was mentioning recently in Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4, text 34. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadakshanti te jnanam jnanina startva darshanaha. That the three requirements to associate or to accept a spiritual master, to be able to benefit by his association. And the first requirement is we have to approach the spiritual master. Pranipatena. It means that we have to be very humble and learn etiquette and proper behavior, how to act in the presence of the spiritual master. And it's not easy sometimes to speak and associate with a guru, especially if we do it, say, full-time. Because guru is known to slash a false ego. So it might not be very easy to associate with the spiritual master closely. And actually not everyone is supposed to do that. Not everyone could be qualified to do that and ready to do that. And then after we associate, we listen to the spiritual master and begin to inquire. And students should be as qualified to inquire as the spiritual master to speak and instruct. And another thing is that a disciple, he should be very much interested in the Bhagavad Dharmas. He should be given nice and sincere inquiries to the spiritual master. And then after we inquire, comes sevaya. This means to follow what we've inquired about, follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Or just like the text says here, that sometimes if we get to be very fortunate, we get to serve the spiritual master physically, helping him in bathing and eating, all those things like that. Thank you. It's called Guru Shushushaya. So that means personal association with the spiritual master. Especially when the spiritual master he gets older, he needs more of that from his disciple or disciples, more help in preaching mission. And a very important point being made by Srila Prabhupada and our teachers, that when we inquire from a sadhu, from a guru, we need to be very submissive and humble. That's the way to understand and please the spiritual master, because if we are trying to be challenging, the knowledge will not be imparting into our heart, because the spiritual master will not be pleased. And I was at the SDSU yesterday, and I met a student. I was actually speaking with two students, and we had a nice conversation going, and they were interested in books. But then another person, he came by and he said, "You guys gave me one book the other time, Science of Self-Realization." And he was saying that I disagree with some of the points in this book. And he, particularly practicing Christian faith, he was telling me about how, in the New Testament there's no such thing as killing, murder. They guess there's made some changes. So he doesn't agree with the fact that he was saying that there's a necessity to eat animals, so I just do it. And he was making an argument that you guys kill plants and vegetables. And I was trying to tell him that as a human being, you have an ability to discriminate, and if you try to do it, it's definitely not the same. But he wasn't trying to listen to me. He was in a very challenging mood, and eventually these two students also went away from me. They said, "Oh, we don't want to be in between this. Maybe we'll talk to you later." And then he blessed me. He said, I bless you. And he was walking away, but he was holding a chicken salad in his hands. So you got the real...
What did he say? What was the blessing for?
Yeah, just because he wanted to... Yes, exactly. Make sure I'm on the right path and walk away and maintaining nice relationship with me. This is not very proper understanding of the teachings of the Bible. And also yesterday, and in the previous text, Dharmasetta Prabhu was, he was reading and beginning to speak about the secret of spiritual life. And now this beautiful text speaking about it, it's related to the Guru Tattva, which is very pleasing to most disciples to speak about, because we get to speak about relationship of guru and disciple, and it's quite pleasing. So it's not enough just to follow religious regulations and rituals. We need a spiritual master, and if we strictly follow the regulations and attentively read Srila Prabhupada's books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, then we understand that it's a necessity. Just like we take the milk from the cow, we take water from the river, and we get knowledge from the spiritual master. And why do we approach a guru? We approach a guru out of desire to understand how to practice bhakti yoga, how to practice and develop love and devotion for Krishna. Not just to become a pious person, because sometimes people might have some misunderstanding that you accept the guru to better your karma, or to get wealthy, or to get healthy, but that's not the correct understanding. And in this famous text of the 18th chapter, Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mamakam Sharanam Braja, Srila Prabhupada explains in the commentaries that Krishna is mentioning in the 7th chapter that you can only approach and begin worshipping Lord Krishna only when all of your sinful reactions are already dissipated. And then he explains that if we try to practice Sarva Dharma Parityaja, if we try to abandon all religion and sincerely approach Krishna directly, then he says, Aham Tvam Saropabhebhyo, then he himself will take care of the sinful reactions. And of course we approach Krishna through a medium of the spiritual master of the Guru. So therefore our service might not be incomplete or perfect, but because there's a spiritual master, Krishna will accept it, and as long as there's sincerity and a real mood of developing relationship and devotion to Krishna. If it's done in such a way, then Krishna, through the spiritual master, will accept that service from us. And then we'll be able to advance in spiritual life. So there's a difference between accepting a spiritual master for the purpose of developing bhakti, love for Krishna, in comparison to just piety, being a pious person. And of course, in our ISKCON, it's quite strict. The sincerity is being checked. So if we're not thoroughly sincere and attending programs at the temple, following strictly, then we won't be able to accept the spiritual master. Or the spiritual master won't be able to accept us. We have to become serious. And I recently was listening to a lecture of Srila Prabhupada. He was giving this example, speaking about how sometimes people, they are trying to be pious. And he was particularly saying that during the World War II, there were a lot of people in Germany. They had their families, and their families had to be broken because the husband or the son would have to go to the war. And so the mothers, grandmothers, or children, they would pray for the husband to come back. And then if that desire is not fulfilled, then people, they become atheistic. The tendency comes out, and they feel disbelief. They lose faith in God, just because that their desire is not being fulfilled. So therefore, if we're trying to accept a teacher with the wrong reasons, there's a tendency to stop following and become atheistic. And just like another example, there's this book. I've read this before I was a devotee. It's Viktor Frankl, Men Searching for Meaning. He was actually in a Nazi camp for quite a long time, and he survived this concentration camp, and he wrote a book about it, providing reasons on how he was able to do it. And there were 3 specific reasons. He was speaking about how we should identify with a purpose when we in such a challenging circumstance. And how to do that, he was saying that, well, first reason is that we could see that there might be some task that needs completion in our material life. And so we can look forward to it, and there's hope to come back and continue on with that purpose. And he was given an example of a scientist or a researcher who was working on a project, and because of the war is being deviated from it, but then when he comes back he can continue on. Another purpose for a person in such circumstances, he was mentioning that somebody who loves us, like children or wife or our relatives, so we can look forward to meeting them again. So that gives a sense of purpose also. And the third one is facing suffering with dignity. He was saying that so many people at those camps, they lose this humanity. They become full of fear, and then when there's so much fear, then there's this animalistic tendencies that come out, and people, they lose mental health. So therefore he was speaking about how we should maintain dignity when we face suffering. And of course he was providing reasons which are completely material, but it helped them. And in our Vaishnava understanding, if we put the most positive thing to look forward to is Krishna, so that could be helpful if we in such circumstances, if we keep Krishna as the goal and something to look forward to and pray to him and chant, then surely Krishna will also be able to help us on a much larger degree than just having this materialistic purposes. And also there's this, in the 6th canto when Yamaraj was speaking to Yamadutas, there's this verse saying that religious system begins with chanting, Etavan evalokesmin pumsam dharma parasmrita bhakti yoga bhagavati tanam grahanati bihi. So the devotional service beginning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society. And even he was saying, even if we commit some sinful act, if we sincerely chanting the holy name will protect us, because it's the main shelter for the devotees. And the same for Ajamil, who chanted the Namabhas. He did not want to chant the holy name, but because he was saying the name Narayan, this was the name of his son, he was able to chant the holy name, the shadow of the holy name Namabhas, and like that he was saved by the Vishnu Dutas. And Yamaraj was preaching to Yamadutas on this. It was a first occasion, the first time they've encountered something like that. He was saying that you should not approach those people who are always chanting the holy name of God and who are surrendered to Krishna, because Krishna himself protects them. So you can't do anything about it. He was saying that you should bring to me those people who are sinful, who have no desire to chant the holy name and associate with devotees, remember and meditate and recognize the authority of Krishna. And we might see that sometimes we can chant the holy name, say Hare Krishna in a way that a parrot would do, quite mechanically, automatically. And of course there might be some benefit there, but ultimately we need to take that process very seriously. Also we can on a particular day be fortunate and follow, for instance, an Ekadashi. Like today some people might be fasting. I remember when I think it was my first Guru Puja in this temple, it was a Ekadashi, and I came in and I made my mind to fast. And devotees were offering me Charanamrita, and I said, no, I'm not taking anything, I'm fasting today. So that was just a coincidence. You know, I didn't know anything about Ekadashi, but I was nevertheless fasting. So the real purpose of following sadhana bhakti and regulations is to become conscious of that practice and do it consciously. And we need to therefore work with the mind. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna very nicely explains how to work with the mind. On multiple occasions, he says that the mind should be engaged inside, very deep inside. He says, engage the mind within and then you'll be liberated. Fix the mind upon me and then you'll live in me. There is no doubt. And then if you want to reach me, mind should be constantly engaged in remembering me without deviation. So the mind should be engaged inside. That's the real practice of how to control it. Because within us, all the knowledge is already there. All the love is existing within all of us. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhaka Banoi, Shravanadi Shuddhachita Karayodoi. That this pure love of God is already there in the heart. We just need to awaken it by hearing and chanting. And that's Sankarshan Prabhu was asking how this knowledge is revealed to us, the spiritual knowledge. And it's very simple understanding. We just need to follow what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. And then we might say that, Krishna is not in front of us here to tell us what to do, like he was in front of the Arjuna. So impact might be not the same. But then we have our spiritual master who precisely preaches according to Bhagavad Gita, according to Srimad Bhagavatam. So we listen to the spiritual master. And Tesham Satatam Yuktanam Bhajatam Paripurvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mama Payantite. Krishna gives the intelligence if we surrender to him. And this process of Buddhi Yoga is a process by which we get out of this entanglement. So we need to understand the ultimate goal of life, Krishna, Prema Bhakti. And we might hear about this goal often on in classes from devotees, but to actually realize and live by that goal and try to fully, sincerely follow at every moment, which how it's been recommended, it's very, very practically very difficult. At least I'm speaking for myself. It's very difficult to be always humble and to always remember Krishna. So who can help us? Srila Prabhupada explains that association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada also explains that when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. So, yeah. And it's actually, yeah, that's from Nectar of Instructions. And so our Rupa Goswami also says that our progress in Bhakti Yoga depends on our attitude, how much they really want to surrender and be with Krishna. And there's might be sometimes a halt in our spiritual life or some difficulty, some challenge. And from how I understand that, maybe we become a little bit conditioned in our services or in our association, and just in general things we're used to doing, and maybe we're not making much effort. So Krishna, he always checks us if we're sincere, and if we want to come to him, he always, practically his hand is always involved in our life. So he wants to help us. He's our best Suhridam Sarabhutanam, the best well-wisher for us. So he always tries to help us, and he gives some challenges, some challenging situations for us to learn and keep pushing, making more effort. It's very, very easily understood if we try to preach, be involved in distributing prasadam, Srila Prabhupada's literatures, or just preaching, giving classes, especially to people who are just coming around for the first time or not so thoroughly understanding the philosophy of Bhagavad Dharma. Krishna's he will always be arranging some situation in which we'll have to overcome the fears and doubts and grow, analyze what we've said, how should we preach better. And then we also discussed this some time ago, but in some occasions we try to be sincere when we follow, we engaged in devotional activities, but somehow or other we're not very intelligent. So Srila Prabhupada explains in this text number 10 that Krishna from within will give the intelligence. He will give the instructions. The only qualification for that disciple is to be sincere and to continue render devotional service with love and devotion. And that knowledge is hidden by duality at this point. Sometimes we're not exactly honest before ourselves. There's a tendency for false prestige and self-respect and things like that. But we have to understand that there's a difference between matter and spirit, and that difference, as far as that internal and external qualities or association, is seen in such a way that inside I understand that I have so many anarthas and so many things that I need to work on, but externally, because I don't wish to cause any disturbances in the devotee association, I try to act out of mode of goodness. But inside I understand that I'm actually so far from being a devotee. I'm just completely pretentious and so far away from being called that. But even though it's there, because we're trying to be in the mode of goodness, we do not want to cause any difficulties unnecessarily for the devotees. So we don't have to always meditate on this anarthas and speak about them among the devotees in our sangha. Because if we try to do that, no one will listen. It's not going to be very productive and helpful discussion, conversation. So that's the real understanding of the difference of matter and spirit. Yes, I have my material side full of imperfections, but the one who's understanding this and noticing these imperfections is my spiritual side, the soul. The body is always full of ignorance and animalistic tendencies, and they always come out if we don't control the urges of the senses. So therefore, as I mentioned previously, we need to work with the mind and control the senses. And then we'll be able to understand the soul more and more. And what is required in relationship with devotees and with Krishna is patience. It's a very important quality. It's probably one of the most important qualities in Kali Yuga, to be patient. Because through patience comes success. There might be so many problems, and they will come. If I'm patient, I'll notice them, and if I'm continuing being patient, I'll let them go. So patience is very, very important. And also determination. Because if we trying to truly seek the absolute truth and we're sincere in our endeavors, the teacher will come and we'll be able to hear him. Just like what's spoken in the Bible, Jesus said that if the son is asking for fish, you're not going to give him, the father is not going to give him a snake. Or if he's asking for bread, he's not going to give him a stone. So therefore, we have to be determined and very sincere. And His Grace Shrutakirti Prabhu was given a very nice example of the pastime of Srila Prabhupada in New Dwarka. In his book, What is the Difficulty? He was speaking about how one morning, it was a very sunny day in California, and Srila Prabhupada came outside. He wanted to take some sunshine, bathing, and also massage from His Great Shrutakirti Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada said that the morning sun gives us energy, and the sun in the afternoon takes that energy away. So they were sitting on the mat, His Great Shrutakirti Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada, and Shrutakirti Prabhu was massaging his back with oil and everything. And then they noticed that there was a little bit of a gate. There's a gate, and there was this opportunity for this little kitten to come through that gate. I guess it wasn't closed all the way. And so that kitten came, and he came to Srila Prabhupada, and he started to become close to Srila Prabhupada, and what do you call that? Rubbing his head against the body of Srila Prabhupada and licking his body, things like that. And His Great Shrutakirti Prabhu was surprised that Srila Prabhupada was patient and he was letting him do it for quite some time. And then Srila Prabhupada said, "Okay, that's it, that's enough, take him away." And so he took him away. But then the kitten came back through that little hole in the gate, and he started doing the same thing. And then Shrutakirti Prabhu took him away again. He would come back again, again and again and again, like 3 or 4 times he would come back. And then when Srila Prabhupada said, just fix the gate so he doesn't come back, and His Great Shrutakirti Prabhu would put some stones or something. And the kitten started being so loud, making this noise that the cats do, meowing or whatever it is. And he was doing that for the whole time when Srila Prabhupada was in the garden. So Srila Prabhupada was, and His Great Shrutakirti Prabhu, they were realizing together that the determination to associate with the sadhu is very important, necessary. And a moment's association, Shrutakirti Prabhu said, with a pure devotee can change the life of even a small animal. The kitten was obviously attracted by the transcendental nature of Srila Prabhupada, and he wanted to bathe in Prabhupada's nectar no matter what obstacles were placed before him. So he was saying, "I pray that someday I will be as determined as that kitten to associate with my Guru Maharaj through his love and service." And last thing I'll say is, we were bringing up this point of the secret of spiritual life, association with devotees, and how Srila Prabhupada gave us instruction, one of the most important instruction, that the love of his disciples will be shown in how we are able to cooperate with each other. Sometimes we're not able to be very close to our spiritual master, because the spiritual master might be fully engaged in the preaching mission, and there might be so many disciples, so we might live far away. But still we associate with the Guru through the sound vibration and following instructions of the spiritual master. Like for instance, Srila Prabhupada, he perfectly understood the mission of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He didn't have so many opportunities to associate with his spiritual master, but he understood the mission perfectly, and that was confirmed by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself. In 1935, he wrote an essay and a poem. Srila Prabhupada wrote an essay and a poem to his spiritual master, and he said, "I am nothing but a tiny servant of the Almighty Absolute Godhead, realized through the unflinching mercy of my Divine Master. Let me therefore bow down at his lotus feet with all the humility at my command." And then he wrote a poem, "Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou hast moved." So, removed. So, that's a good understanding of the essence of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's mission. And then the disciples and godbrothers of Srila Prabhupada, who call him Kavi, learned poet. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself told him that, he told the magazine director, the harmonist, he told him that whatever he writes, now you publish it. So also we can show our sincerity by practical engagement in devotional service on the basis of instructions of the spiritual master. That's how we can express our desire to be close and our desire to follow to the spiritual teacher. Another example to this is when Harikesh Maharaj, this one is Harikesh Maharaj, she was working, I guess, in BBT on, he was printing on this printing machine, working, helping Srila Prabhupada like that. But then Srila Prabhupada told him that you have to go, you have to leave and go, because you should go to Europe, you should go distribute books and preach in European countries. And then Harikesh Maharaj was maybe a little bit intimidated, and at the end he was crying, and in understanding when he came back that actually, yes, I'm capable of taking more responsibilities, more services, more opportunities. So therefore we can be content in typing and producing literature and helping Srila Prabhupada in such a way, or a spiritual master in such a way, as long as we try to be attentive and follow and listen and always connect with the spiritual master through that vibration. But sometimes devotees, they can do more and they can take up the more opportunities for preaching like that. So what I'm trying to say by that is that even though we might not be close to the spiritual master, we can express and show our sincerity by not just being aloof and not just being away from him and not doing anything, but by doing something practically. And this Krishna consciousness society is working. We should be working cooperatively, meaning that the Diksha Guru, he gives us the Sambandhana, he gives us the initiation into the practice. And then there's Abhideya. Abhideya means that we need to understand what can we practically do, and that comes from Shiksha Gurus. So this whole body is working together, this ISKCON. There's Diksha Guru gives initiation, then we understand what are our talents and inclinations, and that comes from conversing and receiving instructions from Shiksha Guru. And then the goal, Abhideya Prayojana, and the goal is Prayojana? Sambandha, Abhideya Prayojana. Prayojana is given directly by Krishna. Because if we associate and follow sadhu, guru, śāstra, then the goal will be achieved. And that is directly given by Krishna. The love, the prema muhurta mahan is given by Krishna directly. Not, of course we follow the sadhu and spiritual master, but directly Krishna gives the love. He chooses. So that's what it means to cooperate, is to be humble, cultivate three qualities: being very humble, being very respectful, and being tolerant. Trinadapi sunichena, tarodapi sahishna, amanina amanadena, kirtaniya sada hari. If we try to cultivate these qualities, then the success will be achieved by a sincere disciple. So that's what I've prepared today for this class. Are there any questions or comments?
It's fascinating that, and I was doing some research here, that this word in this pair of verses, Guru Shushusheya. Guru Shushusheya. Now, that word comes up in a little different variety in this very second verse of the Bhagavatam, indicating that what's the need for any other śāstra or any other book, just by attentive, submissive hearing of the Bhagavatam, the Lord will be manifest in the heart. And then when you go to the second chapter, right? In second chapter of the first canto, beginning by Pungsang Paro Dharma, and you get to the verse, okay, with the sword in hand of remembrance, sword of remembrance, one can cut the knots of illusion that are binding one to this world. Yanarujasina yukta karma granti nabandhanam, that come from karma. All right, how do you get the remembrance, the sword of remembrance? By hearing. And what's the word for hearing there? You get the attachment for hearing by serving the spiritual master. By Guru Sevaya. How's that go? Yarunyasya yukta karma gandhiman. Yeah, shushu shoshadadhanas. That same word, shushu shoshadadhanas. So the word service and the word hearing attentively are kind of the same word. It all begins with this hearing, this eager hearing, and that. What did Prahlad do? All he did was heard for 9 months, right? Yeah. 7 months, whatever it was. And he became, a perfect servant of Narada Muni. So that's the importance of the classes, the importance of reading, the importance of coming together and reading. You have these nice readings once or twice a week upstairs. Yeah. That's the foundation of everything. So it's and of course it all begins with hearing the holy name. Foundation.
Did you have a question, Sankarshan? Because what I've heard also is if we hear the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada involved and told all the disciples to speak and preach and instruct. But if a disciple is not hearing, then who is he going to instruct? So what's he going to say? So it's actually, and of course learning, we all trying to learn to hear very attentively, and I can say from my experience that it's not easy at all. Hearing attentively, it's very difficult, especially in this age where there's so many technologies and internet. Just to stay on one video or on one recording and not deviate and just listen and try to be attentive. It's not easy.
Two verses sound like the summary of the heart.
Yeah, hearing is a way to understand Krishna. Any other questions? Thank you so much for your kind attention. Anyone online? Okay. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.